Welcome back to Bridges Over History. Before we begin, I would like to speak personally for a moment. I understand for many of you, this is a part you probably will skip over or try to avoid, but I ask that you not. When I first created this channel, I had no idea the reactions that I would get, and I had no idea the views that I would get. I am not a famous person. Most of my Facebook friends or Instagram friends or anything like that is people I actually know in real life. I don't really sit outside of a social circle. So, when I started getting views higher than the counts I thought I would get, I was kind of stunned by it. I only expected to get maybe 7 views per video, and that was it. I didn't realize how easily the YouTube algorithm would push these videos onto people's channels, and where it would push them to. In my last video, when I talked about German armor, I struck a nerve with a lot of people apparently. And I would like to back that up. If I struck a nerve in that video that upset you, I do not apologize for it. I am only stating facts based on the evidence I have between my sources. And I have thoroughly researched my sources and ensured their accuracy, and I ensure before I even press record that I am speaking the truth. I try to maintain a neutral platform here. I try to make sure that no one person feels ousted by this channel. I have looked at the analytics for my channel. A lot of my viewers are over the age of 30 and up. I am not. I am 25. I am part of Generation Z. So therefore, that is why I speak the way I do and act the way I do. I will not sit here and have Grandpa hand me an ass whooping that I didn't ask for, and I will give one back. In the meantime, I invite you to comment on the videos. I'm not saying not to comment. I'm saying when you do comment, please make sure that it is not full of Discord, Reddit, or any other sources that are not viable. I am all for military debates. I love them. I love discussing military history. That's why I made this channel. That's why I went to college for it. So I ask that you please be respectful in the comments to each other and to me. I will not sit here and be called an Allied propagandist or an Axis hater. I don't see it that way. I try to remain neutral, as I said. I am a military historian. I rely on key, true, and verifiable facts to make my videos. I've done massive amounts of research before I even press record. My goal isn't to glorify one side or demonize the other. I believe in studying both sides of any conflict, not just the victors. That is the core of responsible history. Anything less would make my degree in the field null and void. I understand for many of you, your favorite tank is this or that. Or perhaps you only play as Germany or the USA in video games. That's all well and good. But don't forget, the actual combat perception and field performance of these tanks isn't something any game or simulator can replicate. Hollywood relies on action, drama, and spectacle. No one wants to watch Saving Private Ryan, where Captain Miller files paperwork for 3 hours or gets chewed out by a major for a lost requisition form. But that's the reality behind these machines. Logistics, doctrine, maintenance, and strategic intent matter far more than the movies. So remember, do your own research. Study the designs, the doctrines, the battle reports, and post-war analysis. You might be surprised at how often the facts don't align with the myths you've been sold. That's why moving forward, I'll include all sources I use in every video description. If you do not like my sources, that's fine. I encourage you to find your own and present your counter-argument. I welcome historical debate, but if you're here to argue based on Reddit post, War Thunder kill counts, or the back of a model kit box, this may not be the place for you. With all that being said, let's finally get into the real truth behind one of the most iconic tanks of all time, the German Tiger I. The Tiger I was formerly designated Panzerkampfwagen 6, Tiger Aus E, was developed in direct response to the shock Germans experienced on the Eastern Front in 1941. The Soviet T-34 and KV-1 had superior sloped armor and firepower that German Panzer III and IV tanks couldn't match. This led to an emergency development order. Adolf Hitler became personally involved, demanding a new heavy tank be fielded immediately. The initial design competition included Porsche and Henschel, but Porsche's design had major reliability issues and was ultimately rejected. The Henschel model, the VK4501H, became the Tiger I. My source for this is Jentz Thomas L., Germany's Tiger Tanks VK45.02, the Tiger II book. My secondary source is Spielberger Walter, Tiger and King Tiger Tanks and their variants book. The Tiger Roll was envisioned as a breakthrough vehicle, a tank that could smash through enemy lines and absorb hits other tanks couldn't. That vision came at the cost of complexity, weight, and logistics. Now let's break down the hard stats. The Tiger roughly weighed 54 tons, had a 100mm frontal hull, 120mm on the turret front. Its armament consisted of an 88mm KWK 36L56 gun. Its speed was maximum of 24 miles an hour on the road. Engine was a Maybach HL230P45 V12 gasoline engine. Its operational range, roughly 195 kilometers on road, 110 kilometers cross country. Its crew consisted of a commander, a gunner, a loader, a driver, and a radio operator. My source for this information, Hunnicutt RP, German Tanks of World War II, the book. My secondary source, Jentz Thomas, Tiger I and II, Combat Tactics book. The 88mm gun was the star of the show, capable of punching through nearly any Allied tank at long range. The optics were superb, and the accuracy was exceptional. But all of this came at a cost. The Tiger was notoriously expensive to build and maintain. Only about 1,347 were ever produced. My source for this, Zaloga Stephen, Panther vs. Sherman, Battle of the Bulge, 1944 book. Now we get into the good and the bad. The good side, the Tiger I first saw action near Leningrad in 1942. It quickly built a fearsome reputation for its ability to knock out Soviet tanks from beyond their effective return range. On the Western Front, it caused panic among Allied tankers. Michael Whitman's ambush at Villers-Bocage is often cited as the peak of Tiger combat effectiveness. My source, Schneider Wolfgang, Tigers in Combat book. My secondary source, Zaloga Stephen, Armored Thunderbolt book. The bad. The Tiger was not reliable in many cases. Tigers were lost, not to enemy fire, but mechanical failure. Heavily over-engineered and fuel-hungry. It was often abandoned or destroyed by its own crews when it couldn't be recovered. My source for this? The British War Office, Intelligence Summary No. 55, 1944, a military intelligence report. My next source, the U.S. War Department TM-E30-451 Handbook on German Military Forces, 1945. At the Battle of Kursk, multiple Tigers were lost due to transmission failure before firing a shot. In Normandy, many were taken out by artillery, airstrikes, or simply bogging down in the hedgerows. Now we get into logistics, maintenance, and fuel issues. The fuel capacity of the Tiger I was 540 liters. Its fuel consumption was 500 liters per 100 kilometers. If you compare that to the M4 Sherman 636 liters and 160 to 200 kilometer range, and you start to see the problem. The Tiger was a gas-guzzling nightmare. My source, Hunnicutt RP, Sherman, A History of the American Medium Tank book. My secondary source, Bundesarchiv reports on fuel usage from 1944 to to 1945 in archival German military documents. Albert Speer himself, Nazi Germany Minister of Armaments, would later say, "The Tiger was a masterpiece, but in a war of attrition, it was a burden, disguised as a miracle." My source, the Nuremberg Trials interview transcripts of 1946. It is a historical interview archive. Now we get into the controversial part, and this is where I must address some things first. Some of the more popular historians in their romanticized takes on the Tiger I. Belton Y. Cooper, in Death Traps, heavily criticized the Sherman and praised the German tanks. But Cooper was not a tank commander. He was a maintenance officer. His account has been widely debunked by multiple historians and very big names. My sources for this? Nicholas Moran, The Chieftain. Death Traps Debunked, his video and article analysis. Source, Zaloga Stephen, Armored Thunderbolt, Chapter 12, his book. Otto Kairos, a German tank ace, famously said his Tigers never broke down. This is anecdotal and contradicted by his own unit's maintenance logs. My source for his quote, Curious Otto, Tigers in the Mud, his memoir. My counterpoint source, Schneider Wolfgang, Tigers in Combat book with the maintenance records from his unit. And if you look into those, you'll actually see what I'm talking about. Now we move into key battles where the Tiger was at its peak and at its worst. In Villers-Bocage in 1944, Michael Whitman's solo rampage over 14 British vehicles destroyed in minutes was a tactical win and a strategic nothing burger. In the Tunisian campaign of 1943, Tiger 131 captured intact after being disabled by a 6-pounder shot jamming its turret. My source, the Tank Museum at Bovington, Tiger 131 combat history, and the museum archives located there. The Battle of Kursk in 1943, Tigers scored kills but also suffered mechanical losses before and during the battle. My source, the Bundesarchiv German After Action Reports of July of 1943, which is a military archive report. Hungary 1945, Heavy Panzer Battalion 503 listed 45% non-operational Tigers due to mechanical failure. My source, Schneider Wolfgang, Tigers in Combat 2, the book. After the war, both Allied and German commanders agreed. The Tiger was tactically impressive, but logistically disastrous. Heinz Guderian himself said, "We need tanks that can be built in the thousands, not mechanical marvels. We can only build by the dozen." My source, Heinz Guderian, the Panzer Leader book. David Fletcher of the Tank Museum summed it up best. The Germans built great tanks. The Allies built tanks that won wars. My source for that? David Fletcher's The Tank Book / DK Publishing in partnership with the Tank Museum. The Tiger I was a battlefield terror, a technical marvel, and a maintenance nightmare. It inspired fear and awe, but also drained Germany's limited resources. If you made it this far in the video, and if you take anything away from it, let it be this. The best tank isn't the one with the biggest gun or the thickest armor. It's the one that can be built, fueled, maintained, and deployed in enough numbers to win a war. Until next time, keep digging, keep questioning, and above all, stay historically sharp. Please leave a comment and like and subscribe for more history content.